You right? All good? Thank you. Right, welcome everyone here to the West Wimmera Shire Council meeting for March 2026. Today we're here in Surfeston. And again, we thank the Surfeston community for hosting us today. We've had a fantastic lunch and a great discussion with the local community here. It's been very productive, and it's great to engage with them one-on-one and have a listen to their ideas and what's working in their community and what ideas they got and how we can help their community. So thank you all for coming along today. If you could all please stand, if you're capable. David, if you could please read the acknowledgement.
The West Wimmera Shire Council acknowledges the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet, pays respect to elders past, present, and emerging. Let us pray. Almighty God, we humbly ask your blessing upon this council. Guide and prosper our decisions to the advancement of your glory and the true welfare of the people of West Wimmera Shire. Amen.
Item 4.1, have we any apologies?
The only apologies of one of our directors, Dalton, that's on leave at the moment.
Thank you. We have no leave of absence. Does anyone have any conflicts of interest in the items on the agenda? If you do find one, please call out later on. 5.1, written questions on notice. Have we received any written questions? 5.2, verbal questions without notice.
To move the opposite recommendation to the assistant standing orders.
So moved. Seconded by Councillor Pretlove. All in favour? That is carried. So I know we've just had a good discussion with the community here, but we have suspended our standing orders. If anyone would like to ask us a question here during the council meeting. So is anyone likely to ask a question before I go through all the rules, or? I don't think anyone's indicating that they want to ask a question. Is anyone prepared to resume standing orders? Moved by Councillor Pretlove, seconded by Councillor Hoyland.
You've slipped in before me. Getting old and slow.
No debate required. All in favour? That is carried. Item 6 is our delegates' reports. Again, I've had quite a few things again on this month. Probably a couple of highlights here was our Timber Towns meeting. Again, we are going through a fair bit of work with them at the moment. We have an upcoming meeting with a couple of government ministers as a group. And a lot of this, you might think, well, what's Timber Towns? In the southern half of our shire, we do have quite a lot of blue gum plantations. And one of the things we really are pushing for is more fire protection, more fire services in that area. I'm sure there would have been more than a few people from the local community here have been down strike teams down that way over the years fighting in blue gum forests, and they know how risky it is. So again, it's a good thing for us to be, as a council, to be involved with. One thing that's not on here was our mayoral catch-up in Horsham with all the regional mayors. And we're doing quite a lot of work in that as a group there. We are becoming quite a little active group, and it's really quite good. It is showing how we can actually achieve a lot more together as a group, and it is quite functional at the moment, and we are quite fortunate to be a part of that as well. And they are really, we are really sort of looking to achieve a few things there, certainly in terms of mining and renewables and how they're going to impact the whole region. And again, it's important for us to have a voice and a seat at the table on those discussions. Councillor Hobbs.
Yeah, so it's been a very busy time. I started off by going to the Writers' Workshop, which was organised by the library in conjunction with the council. That attracted people from probably about a 100-kilometre radius. There was about 20 people that attended that, and it was extremely well worthwhile. Very fortunate to have someone of that calibre and spend, I think it was like 10 o'clock till 3 o'clock. So that was really good. The community impact project, which was very late advertised, but I attended that with Richard Hicks, Amanda Munn came from the council too, Sharon Munn, and another thingamajigger Tink came, Chelsea, that's it. So that is something that we could potentially tap into. We're one of 12 regions across Australia. There are 5 shires for that $900,000, and it's projects of up to $150,000. So I just thought it would be really good if we could do some sort of shire-wide type project, you know, thinking about that participated rebudgeting, that community capacity building, all of that sort of stuff. I did 2 coffee and chats, one in Edenhope, which went really well. There's a nice little group forming out of that, and that's very valuable. Neither one, we only had, like, both Richard and I attended. We only had one at that, but yeah, extremely valuable conversation. Town garage sale I did go to. I think the numbers were down this year. And then I attended the Landcare 30-year tour of all of the tree planting sites that they've actually done. Well, not all of them. It was just, you know, as many as you could get around in 3 hours, but that was really interesting to look at that. I attended the KDPA meeting last night. That is a very different group. They've got like a young subcommittee, but are very keen to develop a Paddock of Plenty type event, which will be really, really good if they can get that up and running. And then just a few shout outs, because I thought we've got some really cool business stuff that is happening in and around the whole of the Shire. Kilmaley Knits, I don't know whether, Tom, you want to talk about that more, but the thing with it is they are down in Harrow and they were showcased at the Melbourne Fashion Week with the fabric that they make. So that is very interesting. That is in conjunction with an Aboriginal designer. The Early Bird in Edenhope is an amazing fit out that they've done, really high quality product. Beautiful local produce. It's exactly what we needed as far as, like, you know, that nice local bakery. And I see they got picked up on it with the big bakery reviews, as did Border Inn. My Gunya Farm Stay, that building arrived yesterday. Super exciting project as far as that goes. Not more high quality accommodation. And Elliott's Engineering, they had their opening the other week too, which I didn't actually get to, but I heard that was very well attended. So it's just good to see that sort of like level of innovative entrepreneurship businesses happening.
Just the one thing you picked up on there, I attended Elliott's Engineering opening, and it was a very well attended thing. Yep. But the one thing I do want to just say is that I had a good chat with Rick, and he said a lot of people were coming up to me saying, "Oh, this would have been opened earlier if it wasn't for the council." Mm-hmm. And Rick said it was quite the opposite. The council couldn't have done more to help him, and most of the problems were actually with other people, not the council. So I think that's worth pointing out. Yep. Councillor Hicks has gone for a second, has he? We'll go to Councillor Pretlove.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I attended the Edenhope Cup the other weekend, and well done to that committee. They continually put it together and do a great job. We've recently had the Lake Charlie Gripe Music Marathon, which I know I'm quite involved in, but I think it's nice to thank all the volunteer groups that help keep that going, and the volunteers themselves. This week, was it this week, the Audit Committee, or last week? Last week, the Audit and Risk Committee meeting, which we have every 3 months, was held, and it's pleasing to note that you know, we as council, I think we all realise that we've had to tighten our belt, and you know, with the funding, you know, not coming in, the timing, it seems to really affect and impact our budget. But you know, there certainly weren't any concerns. I think we're really pushing forward in the right direction, and you know, those external auditors and all that come together on that committee, we're very happy with the progress and just where we're situated with the, you know, budgeting going forward, and just where you know, yeah, where we've come. So I think it is a credit to the David at the helm, and I guess it's, you know, the decisions really that have come through council and the support with the senior staff and our finance team that have really got this back on track, you know, so that we can ride those bumps of timing. And we're certainly, you know, I think the foundation is good, and it's great to see that, you know, those at that level that sit there with all of their experience see that we're in a very stable, you know, the foundation's there and we're going well. So I think that was as pleasing as we could really expect. So really that's all. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Pritloff. Councillor Hicks.
Apologies, difficult running slaves externally. Mine really is as recorded. In fact, Councillor Hodge has covered all my extracurricular activities, at least those she knows. Those that she doesn't know, she doesn't need to know.
Thank you, Councillor Hicks. Councillor Houlihan.
I'd like to say thank you to the service and ladies for their work in the kitchen. That's well done. Sorry, I do apologise for having the back. It's well done. Attended the Eden Hope races. The facilities were magnificent. The track surface was sensational. The volunteers to set the place up the way they had it. I don't know how you did it, but it was magnificent. I'll go as far as to say the Melbourne Cup should be at Eden Hope Racetrack this year. Don't laugh, I'm fair dinkum.
Hope you've got roses blooming at that time, Tom. It won't be the same otherwise.
That was on the 7th to the 3rd. Then on the 8th to the 3rd, Harrow had their Red Gum Fair meeting. Indigenous cricket. Got a very good crowd for it. They just put down a new wicket, pitch, carpet. The oval, they've been working on that, sewing that for 2 or 3 years, and it's peaked now. It was exceptionally good too. And then on the river, they had the duck races for the Bush Nursing Centre. Yeah, they sold all the ducks, and it's one of those different things you do for fundraisers, and you know, I don't know, they made 2,000 or 3,000 there by, you know, no, very, very little expense, well, no expense. So well done to them. Something that I've had on my books. I've been on council now for 10 years. And one project that's been on there, Richard, you'll back me up, is the, Jody will back me up. It's the railway crossing. It's a crossing that I go across twice, 4 times a year. And that's been on the books to get lights and gates there. For me, the first thing I do, I get there and pull up and I look towards Melbourne, and there's a brick building there. After 10 years, we shouldn't have to wait until there's a bad accident to get something there. So I just ask that that be put on our state election priorities, one of our priorities, sorry. Along with the Gergum ablution block and the senior sit accommodation in Harrow. We have people living in caravans on the river. It's just, yeah. The other thing I'd just like to congratulate Sue McClure on work she's done. I've been out to her house and out to their farm, and the work that she's done with the wool, and then gets back, knitting machines, clothes making. She has been taking it to fairs for a while now, but she's finally getting recognition out of Melbourne, and I'm hoping, for Sue's sake, for the amount of work she's put into it, that something big comes out of it. Yeah, I'd just like to finish by thanking the servicemen people for inviting us to this facility. In Harrow, in 2002, the Kaniva builders and plumbers put a building up for recreation reserve in Harrow, and this was one of the buildings we looked at prior to building it. We haven't built as good a building since, but this is, in my opinion, an excellent building. And when I say that, it's just not built for football, netball and tennis. And as I've learned today, one of the biggest users of it are the church. And that's why we've got to build buildings now. One of the biggest users of our building in Harrow are the senior SIP ladies who meet there once a week for 12 months of the year and up at the recreation. I think we've got to look, and we're putting up public buildings that they not be multi-purpose. Not sure about the one in Harrow becoming a church, but it's sort of a second pub. So anyway, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Whitehead. We have no condolences. Move on to the confirmation of the previous minutes, 8.1.
Go on, Jody, you going to do it or me?
Uh,
I'll do it first. There you go. I'll move the recommendation.
Motion, seconded by Councillor Pritlove. Any discussion required? If not, put to the vote. All in favour? That is carried. We have no business arising. We have received no notice of the motion. We have no council forum record. We have received no deputations or petitions. We have no CEO report. Which takes us to 14.1, the quarterly budget report and annual plan update.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll present this report in Dalton's absence. In terms of the Local Government Act, we have to provide these quarterly reports to council, and it's in open meeting. The reports is also available for the public. It's even more transparent. We also normally attach our update on our annual plan so that everybody can see exactly how we are tracking against each and every point. I think as Councillor Pritlove mentioned, the feedback that we've received from the Audit and Risk Committee in terms of all financial aspects was really very, very positive. Looking at the position of this report is basically quarter two as on the 31st of December 2025. And at that point in time, the operating income is about 6% below budget due to a smoothed out monthly allocation of operating grants. So I think that one speaks for itself. The operating expenses, one of the largest expenses is employee costs, and employee cost is basically on budget, so that's tracking well. Material and services, the spending is below budget at this point in time. Then I think it's also worth mentioning on capital works. most of the road construction and resheeting work is actually scheduled for the second half of the year. So that will then take the percentage of capital works up substantially. So overall, I think council's financial position remains stable, and we are very comfortable in the position that we're sitting in at the moment. In terms of what we expect when we reach the full year outcomes, I think that will all remain sort of aligned with our budgets. I think there's anything more that I need to say. There is a recommendation before council that council receive a note, the quarterly budget report and the annual plan update for quarter 2 ending on the 31st of December 2025. Thank you, Mr.
Yeah, we have a rule: if a phone goes off, that's a box of beer. So.
All long.
I think you'll see there's a bar right behind you, John. But are there any questions on the report?
Move the officer's recommendation.
That's a print.
I'm happy to second. Yeah.
Does mover wish to speak?
Just a brief comment. These reports are very detailed, and they're very important to council to keep a track of our spending against the budget and against the annual plan and the council plan. I'd like to thank David and the team for consistently preparing these reports on time. It's right now we're going through a very difficult fiscal period. I think pretty much every shire in the state is having difficulty in balancing the budgets, and I think the way that David and team have really kept a close eye on our expenditure is absolutely commendable, and I think the budget report shows that we're in as good a position as we could possibly be under these constraints of these financial constraints. So thank you, David, too.
Second wish to speak?
Yes, I do. Thank you. I guess in support of what Councillor Hicks has just said, and because there are a few in the room that probably don't always, hear how the budget's tracking, I think it's, or one thing that we do have in front of us in our profit and loss, we have the actual budget year to date that just doesn't change, and then the actuals where we're tracking. And there's always some notes just to clarify what our, anything that goes. I thought it was a 10-15%, but I notice a couple of them are back at more like 6%, but there's a note just to say why it's not meeting where we are in the budget. But to have sat through like I said, the audit and risk committee meeting, and everything is tracking like every organisation. Some payments come in and they don't come exactly when you think that they should have come in, but to hear and to that by the end of the financial year we really are on track. Probably our with our roads and the material and services is the big one, but this is the time that we do that. So I'm really pleased that we have got the budget, and the budget figures are really looking to stack up. The actuals are looking to stack up with the budget. So it really is a, well, let's hope we do get there, but we're certainly tracking for that, and it's quite an achievement. And I do thank those that put it all together and make it happen, because there is a lot that does go on, and for it to be coming in like it is, it's how we want to see it, and it's good to be part of. So thank you. I do support putting this through. Thank you.
Anyone else wish to speak? Who wants to start? Oh, sorry, Councillor Hobbs.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think that it's particularly when you talk to other councils and you hear what is going on in their areas. I think the work that Dalton and Jason has done to try and bring all of this back into line has been excellent. I'm very confident with their competency. And I think it's certainly worth having a bit of a read through it, because it is interesting when you look at that annual plan and you just see how all of that is tracking from, like, for example, when we were out at Serviceton and all of those other little towns and all of those ideas that were suggested and how they've been put into that plan and what percentage they are through. So, well done. Good.
Anyone else wish to speak?
Oh, Mr. Mayor, if I can maybe just make one comment. Yes, we definitely thank the finance team, but the finance team can also only work with what they receive from the rest of the organisation. So the crew still have to put in the hard work to get work done on the roads and submit the necessary timesheets and invoices and actually do the work. So at the end of the day, it is a massive team effort to be able to keep these things on track, and it's it would be wrong to leave out a single sort of council staff member. It's really a big effort, and I think we've got a good culture, and everybody that they are all working together as a team for us to get these good results.
I just want to add, the only thing that we are missing from this report, and hopefully we see it soon, will be in the non-operating grants, will be a grant for the Surfers and Bowls Club. So hopefully something like that will pop up, as well as other things. But again, it is a really challenging environment to be in local government at the moment. Our income is steadily being eroded, and ways to raise revenue is difficult. And the increasing workload that the government expects of us is always increasing. So it's a very challenging environment to be in, but we hope people can appreciate the amount of effort that we do, and we try and get as much as we possibly can back into the community, whether it's through roads or whether it's through services. And so, we just try and do as much as we can with as little as we got. So thank you to everyone. Councillor Houlihan.
I'd like to thank the massive team effort put in by our staff, all of our staff, against where we are. Thank you.
Like to move, wish to sign off.
Just very briefly, I think many people, there were members of the community who were disappointed and a bit surprised, I think, 12 months ago when council said that they needed to borrow money from the government resources to try and balance our budget and get things back in order. I was really pleased to hear in our own internal discussions a couple of weeks ago that the repayment of that loan, the loan that we ended up taking out was not as big as first estimated, so that was a really positive move. But also the repayment schedule looks like it will be ahead of time, which is an incredible achievement. I think it's important that we try and pay back any of those government loans as quickly as we can. We don't want to have to pay interest unnecessarily. And I think council and staff have worked very hard this year to try and really tighten up the budget as much as we can, to try and bring these expenses into line and to get the loan repaid as quickly as possible, so as not to have that over the heads of our community members. So I just want to make that note that the repayment looks like it will be ahead of schedule. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That's the end of me.
Right, we'll put it to the vote then. All in favour? That is carried. We'll move to item 14.2, the building fee refund policy.
Mr. Mayor, this building fee refund policy is just one policy of a long list of policies in council. And I think everybody would know that all our policies normally has got a timeline on it. It's only for a period of 2 years or 3 years, and then that policy need to be reviewed. And we also try our best to sort of really scrutinize those policies and make sure that that they actually do add value, and look carefully at them, whether we have to make any changes or whether that policy is necessary at all. Now, in this instance, this policy appears to have been established to support not-for-profit organisations undertaking building projects that's funded through grants. Now we have since sort of changed the way we do our projects a little bit, and the current process that we are following in terms of that, most community projects are managed by the council project team. So if it's necessary to get substantial government funding, then those building fees are typically incorporated in that overall project cost estimate. And hence we don't really sort of need this policy then to consider. So it's not really necessary, and for that reason, we ask council, and the recommendation is for council to revoke this building fee refund policy.
Are there any questions?
Have you moved the recommendation that you revoke the policy as David's explained?
Councillor Hicks has moved the recommendation, seconded by Councillor Pritlove. Does the mover wish to speak?
I'm pretty excited, actually. It's very rarely we get to revoke a policy. We usually get drowned in new ones. So this is almost a unique experience for me. In support of what the CEO has explained, it seems to me a little pointless if we have policies that are irrelevant, out of date, unrequired, or are encapsulated in other policy procedures. In this case, I believe this is one that really adds nothing to the overall policy, with the listing of policies that we have, and is best revoked, and we move on.
Anyone wish to speak?
No, thank you.
Anyone else wish to speak? If not, Councillor Hobbs.
I was just going to say, I think the key wording there is that there remains provisions within the fees and charges schedule for partial refunds upon withdrawing of building permits prior to inspection. That's in the agenda. I think that sums it up.
Mover wish to sum up?
No, thank you.
Put it to the vote then. All in favour? That is carried. 14.3, shopfront improvement grant guidelines.
Mr. Mayor, in exactly the same way that we would review our policies, we would also from time to time review our grant guidelines, always just to make sure that we can really utilize this money in the best possible way and get the best possible benefit for the community. So we've asked our community development manager to review this and to come up with some recommendations to council. I think as part of that review, what was highlighted is that it might be appropriate to maybe do a change of name so that it's clearer exactly what this grant is for exactly. There was also to remove a bit of a tiered sort of application process to simplify the process a bit, and then also the introduction of a 2-for-1 2-to-1 contribution, which is very common to see in grant guidelines. So I think the draft document sort of speaks for itself, and there is an officer recommendation. We do have our community development manager with us here today, so if there is any questions, I'm sure John can answer those questions, but the recommendation is for council to approve the proposed amendment in the shopfront improvement grant guideline.
Thank you, John, for joining us. But are there any questions? Councillor Hobbs.
You got a question?
Well, I
Oh,
was
you're
just going
moving
to, no, it's a question. Just a clarification. Now, I know obviously we're talking about the guidelines, but just like for general public's sake, we're talking about, is it $12,000 in that pool across the whole of West Wimmera Shire at the moment? Yeah.
And how often do we receive applications under the old guidelines?
But in saying that, applications still which and were submitted through. Not that often. Probably 20,000 speak, yes, absolutely. Has it in the past? What hasn't? Yes, it has been used.
Any further questions? Councillor?
No, happy to move it.
With the recommendations,
Second.
second by Councillor Hicks, the mover wishes to speak.
Yes, I do. I feel we probably do spend a bit of time updating or adapting granted guidelines, but I think it is important to try and, if we're going to have the money sitting there, we need to have it there so that people can willingly and see it as a way of, I guess, investing and doing the upgrades or utilising the funding stream. So I don't believe we've had a lot of that in this area. So adapting I think it's a good way of doing it. The bit I like is the 2-for-1 contribution. I think that it's really good to give a business ownership as well, rather than just give. I think it's good to work together and you know, to particularly for jobs ready to do and worth doing. It's you know, I think there's just a bit more pride and a bit more to it all if you're doing it together. So I like that idea. The 2-to-1 stretches the money further. So yes, I hope that we see a bit of take up with this one, and we'll see. I guess we'll be maybe bringing it all to council again in a year or two to make some other changes, but happy with what's in front of us at the moment. Thank you.
Second wish to speak.
If I may. Yeah, I certainly believe that council's support to community organisations and community businesses via these types of grants is a really important mechanism where we can show that we respect these various community and business groups, and whilst the amount of money that we might have is not vast or never ending, it can be a significant contribution to some of the activities that these groups are involved with. In this case, I think we all would like to see our commercial streets looking nicer, better signs to keep the facades of the shops in good order, to keep the signage modern and up to date. There's no point having a sign on a shop when the shop closed down 10 years ago with some ancient, name that hasn't existed for a long time. So overall, these sorts of grants and these guidelines are pretty critical in the way that we assess applications. I think it's important to realise that guidelines are just that. They are not set in concrete, and it's important that council, as we have in this case, review the guidelines and tweak them a little as situations change, as the community expectations change with changes in development or policy or politics or whatever. And I think in this case, we've simplified the guidelines. I do agree with Jody that making a 2-to-1 contribution encourages a buy-in from both the council and from the proprietor. And hopefully we'll get more grant applications in the future, which can only provide a benefit and some beautification, if you like, to our commercial precincts. So I'm very happy to second this motion.
Anyone else wish to speak?
Can I just ask a question as well? Did it include signage in the end, or was it just like the facades? I thought, yeah.
No signage, or rewind the signage.
Well, it's sign writing, but vinyl applications still apply.
Right.
Sorry, what was that?
The vinyl thing. if it's
So you
part
put
of
stickers on the
facade.
window, yeah,
Oh, okay.
but not sign writing. Yeah,
But I did want to make a few comments on this because obviously, like, I do fully support it. And I think it's a really good step in the right direction. Particularly, you know, as you've all said, removal of the tiered application and all the other bits. But the thing with it is some of the comments around it. I ran it through Edenhope Coffee and Chat, and you know, I'm like, tell me, why is a businesses even, you know, why is it important? We don't support agricultural businesses. Why should we support Main Street? And the thing with it is that the businesses are essential services, and I think sometimes we probably need to be reminded that they're the places that people rely on every day. It's not just about goods, but it's about community and connection and well-being. One lady talked about how the reason why she moved to Edenhope was because that it was a well-presented town. So it is what we're actually talking about is supporting livable towns, and particularly at Edenhope, that early bird has had significant investment. It is a high-quality space, showcasing local produce. Harrow, that Colmer House, I mean, they were just on the verge of losing that supermarket. It's completely been revitalised, beautiful products there. You've got the destination businesses, Aussie Ink, Little Desert Quilts, what goes around comes around. So, you know, it's all working in together. You've got the niche market retailers, you've got Lane 36, Seven and Sage, and they're good signs of confidence. And that business confidence flows on to people choosing to live here. So that's the most important part. Yes, it's a small token amount, but we've got to think that the business sector is extremely fragile because we've got supermarkets for sale in Edenhope and Goroke. We've lost Little Guy's Cafe in Coniva. And it's the flow-on effect, the domino effect that has. So, yes, agriculture, I just looked up some stats. Agriculture employs 52% of our workforce. But if you look at the Main Street economy, which is retail, accommodation and hospitality, that's 10% of local jobs. So, but yeah, we farmers certainly need vibrant communities around them. Families that are considering a move to our region are looking at whether that town has services, schools, healthcare and places to connect. So I'm, very happy to support it.
Anyone else wish to speak?
It's been well.
Right. So I just want to quickly add, and I'm quite happy to support this motion and this policy, but I think you sort of got to understand where this all came from. And originally it was to actually try and get derelict shops improved. So we had the carrot and the stick approach, and so this was the carrot. Because no one's ever used it, hardly ever used it, well, unfortunately, it's no longer going to be a part of the policy. So, again, I would have liked to have seen perhaps some of that kept in there, but anyway, I'll support this motion. Other than that, I'm particularly supportive of it because of the all abilities sort of side of things. And I think making our shops more accessible, I think that recognises, we have ageing communities and we do need to look after people who live here. And it's looking after our residents and helping them support our own businesses. I think that's pretty important. So happy to support it. Does the mover wish to sum up?
No, not really. No, thank you.
Put it to the vote then. All in favour? That is carried. Item 14.4, GWMT membership fee and MOU.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think everybody is aware of the fact that we are currently a member of the Grampian Swimmerhammerlee Tourism Group, which is basically a regional tourism board, and that enable us and make us part of that partnership where we can actually share in funding that's made available from the government, and we've got a much larger group that we can work with and partner with to try and drive sort of tourism in our region. The previous memorandum of understanding came to an end, and what's before council at the moment is basically an MOU that will take us to the 30th of June 2027, and the idea is then that all the councils that's then still part of this group by June 2027 will then sign a new MOU that will include the whole group of all the councils. So by authorizing me to sign this new MOU, it basically will ensure that council remains active and an influential partner as part of the regional visitor economy, and also with continuity of service delivery and strategic alignment with all those other councils. So the recommendation before council is basically to approve the memorandum of understanding that's attached to this document, authorize the CEO to sign it, and then it's also just important to note that the membership fee to be part of this group will go up from $15,000 to $25,000. Now, we've had at our forum a presentation from the CEO of GWMT to in his own words, provide that presentation to council on what was done over the last 12 months and even before that. So there's a recommendation before council. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Are there any questions? You have a question, or you?
I was going to ask, do a question, just a clarity question again. The CEO is the only person that is delegated to that board. With the memorandum of understanding.
Yeah,
have we got any representation?
The way the constitution works with that board is the CEO of all the councils will represent the councils. The large councils at this stage pay a membership fee of about $75,000. So it's a fairly big chunk that those larger councils will pay. The smaller councils in our region, we've agreed to only take up one seat on the board, and we changed that representation. Previously it was Harry Ambiak. At the moment it's Hindmarsh sort of representing us there, but all our councils will have a meeting each and every month with the CEO of GWM Tourism. So we do have representation on that board, and currently it is the CEO of Hindmarsh. But as I said, we have a monthly meeting, and I also work very, very closely with John and Michelle in our tourism team. And before each and every board meeting, they will ask us for the opportunity to provide them with reports and what's going on in our shire. And so all that information is constantly sent through to this group. And so at this stage, that arrangement is working well for us. I mean, they would be more than happy to take all of us as full members, but then our membership fee will jump up to $75,000. So at this stage, we believe we actually do get good value as one of the smaller councils, and I think by only paying this smaller fee of $25,000 is actually very good value for us.
Any further questions?
I'm happy. No, I'm happy to move.
Happy to move recommendations 1 and 2. So, Brett Love, your second.
Yes.
Mover wish to speak?
Yeah, I'll just reiterate what has been said in the past. Council is a member of a number of regional or wider committees, boards, groups, and I think being being a member of some of these organisations is a very important mechanism by being a small individual shire. In many cases, doesn't hold very much sway or power with those outside. But if we can group ourselves within a regional body, by effect, we have a bigger footprint and more opportunity to make change or to lobby for support. This tourism group is a very important group, and we are getting very good value for money for it. And as I've said in the past, we need to also be aware, though, that the membership now is $25,000 a year, which council has to pay, and we need to regularly review membership of these organisations and decide if we are really getting value for money. If we're not getting value for money, we either negotiate a lower membership fee reflecting our low population, or we choose to withdraw from that organisation. And certainly in the past, we have withdrawn from some organisations just because we weren't getting value for money. In this case, I believe we are getting good value for money at this stage, even though the fees, as been indicated, will rise from 15,000 to 25,000. I think we are getting value for money being a member of this larger group, and I'm very happy to support the officer recommendations as detailed.
Yes, I think really our presentation at Forum, I thought it was quite exciting actually. I thought that it was really came across, you know, this group, or what are they, Grampian Wimmera Mallee Tourism. I think they're you know, with the branding, it's professional, working together with all of the shires. I think that's can only be positive with our neighbouring shires. Yeah, I'd like to give this, you know, definitely continue on with this and just see what we can get out of it, you know, to increase visitation, support the economic growth. You know, that I think the fact that there were the tourism or the campaigns in Melbourne and Adelaide that we were represented at, I think that is brilliant. The magazine, you know, we had some of our tourism events and places already in that magazine, and the brochure that they, you know, was handed around on 2 weeks ago. I see it as being really positive, really linking West Wimmera Shire to the whole tourism and the profile across the state, really. And I really like the fact that, you know, when we did bring up, you know, where we're situated, we really have to campaign across the border, you know, with the things that are across the border as well, to drag the people through, like the Naracoorte Caves and the wine regions and things like that, to get people through. Interestingly, what was the program on television? Was it Sunday? And exactly that was going on. They had Pathway House and the caves, and I thought, you know, this is all on Victorian TV, how that can really bring people through our shire. You know, when we've got places like the puppet shop and what we've got going on down in Harrow and some of these events that we hold, I just think this one is a no-brainer to stay in. And I agree with you, Richard, we need to be assessing and making sure we're not just throwing good money, you know, out the window. But I think this is really positive. I would like to think we look in a presentation again, you know, in 12 months and really calculate the progress and see where we are. But I'm certainly keen to support this group and hope that it can drag people through, particularly when we've got this highway where we have, you know, I think we really need to be working on tourism. So I'm happy to support this recommendation. Thank you.
Anyone else wish to speak for or against the motion?
Very happy to support this, and I do think, you know, we have seen a big improvement. It's come a long way from where it was, and what they've offered is that whole professionalism. There are a few things that I thought we need to probably make a mention of. That is, like, Edenhope has probably been the big, even though it looks like, oh, we're giving them 25,000. The thing is, Edenhope Caravan Park, that's a $1.4 million new caravan upgrade. Like, they've been the big winners. We've got $2 million in cabins across the whole of the Shire. So that 25, even if we're spending 25 now, it's massive. And their visitor app and their new website, that was $480,000. I mean, that is a massive investment. But what we've got to do as a council is actually leverage it, because, like I said in the presentation, people are using Google AI through everything now to search, and that the ATDW listings, which are currently free for the accommodation and the hospitality operators, that needs to be extended to the Dachau Museum and the puppet shop, because they are actually attractions. So we definitely need to leverage that. And the other thing is that we need to look at the signage, because the signage at the Tolma Way is disgraceful. We need the Wimmera Tourism, that whole signage print that they've actually got. They've got it down in Horsham, and that's what needs to be done at the Kaniva Information Centre, the Tolma Way. So those little things need to be fixed with the QR code that then takes you into that visitor app. But the visitor app really does need to get fixed, because that's a lot of money to be spending there. But yeah, very happy to support it. And I just think we also need to think about places like Harrow. Like, when you've got 90 people, it's not really about tourism. What we're talking about is improving services for residents by making those businesses viable through the additional visitor dollars that it's generating. So that's really ultimately what this comes down to, is improving resident services through the additional dollars that we're generating through the overnight stay.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak? Councillor Roy.
Yeah, fully support these organisations. They're the groups that get the name of, for instance, last weekend out, Billy Cart Indigenous Cricket. So this coming weekend is Sound and Light. Being a member of these groups helps us get bookings for those sort of things, and brings people into town. It's just essential in small towns that we get the outside dollars, and just essential. For every $10 I spend, money up, that equals one outside dollar. Thank you.
So whoever wishes to sum up.
Was it me?
Yes,
No.
it was you.
Put to the vote then, all in favour, that is carried. Move to item 15.1. Sealing of a section 173 agreement for lot 1 Coleraine Edenhope Road.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this report seeks a resolution of council to use of the common seal to complete a section 173 agreement, which is a legally binding agreement that goes with the land. In this case, it's a lot down in Edenhope, zoned industrial, has the Edenhope abattoir on it. The applicant is looking to subdivide the abattoir from the balance lot, and that has triggered a condition that would be in a typical subdivision application, that they prepare a stormwater management plan. The use of this agreement enables them to progress with the application for the subdivision and ties the condition to the future owners of the balanced land lot. So we still get a stormwater management plan when it's required.
Any questions?
Happy to move the opposite recommendation.
So moved. I'll repeat the second.
No.
Oh, I did. Councillor Predlove, you're sitting closest. I saw you first. Smooth wish to speak.
Just briefly, it's a little bit of an unusual situation with this, but to me, it's more it's in the category of a bureaucratic document to support a development that I'm happy to proceed.
Second wish to speak?
No.
Anyone else wish to speak?
Oh,
Think so.
yeah, just these sort of developments, the type of things you've got to go through council, and I'm just pleased to see this going. Thank you.
Whoever wishes to stand up. The vote then, all in favour, that is carried. Item 15.2, the Resource Ready Northwestern Victoria Energy and Mining Impact and Readiness Strategy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And I think everybody is aware of that there's a lot going on in that mining space at the moment in Victoria, in particular sand mining and rare earths, and also a fair bit in the energy space. And we've had a group of 9 councils that came together and had intensive sort of discussions about what the impact of all these potential energy and mining projects might have sort of on our region and how it might impact us. I think it kicked off with our council alliance, actually where all the mayors and deputy mayors came together to brainstorm and look at what these potential impacts could look like. That was really the starting point of this initiative. So we then engaged consultants to go back and prepare a report for us. That's a report that we call the Resource Ready report, and so it's really to try and establish what how all these projects potentially, if they should happen, how that would potentially impact our region and specifically our shire. And there's a lot of points that came out of this report in terms of impacts on our roads, on our rails, on housing, on skills, on workforce, local government resourcing, impact on our agriculture, and the report has sort of really helped us to try and work out a strategy on how we can go and do further homework on those different areas, come up with all those evidence of what that impact would be, so that we can use that in our advocacy plans and to go back to all the stakeholders, and particularly the government, to see how we can best sort of mitigate that impact. So this same report will basically be taken back by these 9 councils. So today is the opportunity for our council to consider that report and to endorse the report. And then should this report be endorsed, we will then have further discussions with all the necessary stakeholders, try to do further studies, try to be as proactive as we can be in this space. So this officer's recommendation, the report is attached, and the recommendation is basically asking council to endorse this Resource Ready report, and then also to commit to working collaboratively with partner councils, that's with the 9 councils that we mentioned in this report, and with state government, to advocate for and implement the strategy priority actions as stipulated in this report. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Any questions? Anyone prepared to move on?
I am happy to move it. Jodie's happy to second it.
I'm going to let this one go.
Oh, you got this one
Yeah,
going?
I am.
Okay.
actually.
No, I'll second this one. Whoever wishes to speak?
Briefly, if I can. This whole energy mining development that's happening in northwest or western Victoria has created a lot of community angst, a lot of community concerns. And I think it's important that councils within those areas try and develop strategy, policies if necessary, to both support the community, but also to capitalise on opportunities that may present themselves to the benefit of the councils. I go back to what I said earlier today, in that joining up with other councils in a strategy such as this improves, enhances the overall strategy and the effect it might have when you come to lobbying government or asking for government support or consideration. And I think in this case, with these 9 or 10 councils, of which West Wimmera is one of them, is a very important move and can only strengthen our voice when we come to negotiations with federal and state politicians and decision makers. This strategy is, I believe, the first part of a series of strategies that might follow to more strongly put the requirements, the deficiencies and the needs of councils. You know, we're all aware that if we're going to start to develop, we're going to need better roads, if we're going to go down this mining thing, or we need more housing to support labour within the Shire. We need better communication technology to support businesses and those sorts of things. So this strategy, I believe, is the first phase of a series of other papers that will put forward the voice of this 20 to 30% of the state of Victoria as a consistent and consolidated voice.
Thank you.
I'm done.
Right.
It was short.
Right. No. And look, and I agree with most of what you say there, Councillor. It again, the point you're making where we are stronger together is definitely absolutely correct, because a lot of this has come out of the fact that the state government has no transmission policies, no energy policies, no strategy at all. Everything's been done ad hoc. They don't know what things are going to cost. They don't know what the impacts are. They have absolutely no idea what they're doing. But in turn, when they were coming to councils to try and, to sort out the planning side of things, to sort out who's doing what, the impact on roads, impact on jobs, impact on houses, they were just picking off councils one by one. This way, we've all come together and said, no, look, this is the impact to us. This is the impact to all of us. And you might, here in West Wimmera, we don't see a lot of it. It is coming. There will be little pockets of it in our Shire. But we couldn't even get heard. We couldn't say, well, we won't be able to find an electrician in this town because they're all going to be working up at Stawell or something like that. We won't be able to find a house. We can't find people to work in childcare because they're all going to get dragged that way. So this is our opportunity to get our voices heard, and it's really due to the fact that, well, especially to David as well, who has a good relationship with all the CEOs in our regions, that we've been able to form this group and get action out of this. So this is a fantastic initiative, and I think this report is actually something that's going to really just sort of highlight to the government where they are failing and where we need more help. Does anyone else wish to speak? Councillor Breedlove?
Yeah. While I understand that this is the direction that we're pushed to try and draw some money and use a government plan, their transmission strategy, their mining, all of what our state government has in mind to bring through the state. I see that, this is our way of trying to direct and get some money out of it. But I feel that we're, and I understand being part of, our neighbouring shires and furthermore, and there's strength in the numbers to try and really, all this is about is trying to get some money for our roads, which we should be getting money anyway. We've got assets here. We're hearing about it all day. We've got state roads are in a mess. We can't get any money for it. So the government, they're putting out this, that I guess the purpose behind it's the whole climate change thing, and that we've got to get into mining more mineral sands, and which I see here to export and da da da. I understand that, but we're really playing into their lap in a way as well. Although we do need money on our assets. Things are a mess. Our state government, there's all of these figures in here. I don't know who would, I can't really have a lot of confidence when I see figures of, $888 million across all phases. And where do these figures come from? We've seen blowouts in so many things. I can see this. I think it's all scary. The whole job's scary. I'm worried for the future, to be quite honest, with the direction that we're taking, Victoria are taking. I'm concerned about productive farming, agriculture land that farm to, and are there to feed the population, clothe the population. It's a rite of passage for mines to come in. I really am concerned with the direction, and I think the only reason that this really is being developed, and I understand that, is to try and to get some money out the side door to try and do something with, like I say, some of our infrastructure. I am concerned in long term we'll see a lot of white elephants. I don't think the planning's good at all in the background, and I understand this paper and is to try and make a government more accountable, but I'm really concerned what the future holds in this area. Thank you.
Last wish to speak, Councillor Horton.
Something I want to pick up on what Joe said. Worrying for the future. I think the situation we're in is what's been put up here. The councils get together and go to the state government as a body. Don't believe we will just go to our local member, and as Western Mackay, we would have the achievement and power together as a. Thank you.
Last wish to speak. Not wish to sum up. Put it to the vote then. All in favour? All against? Abstain?
I'll abstain.
Abstain.
You've got to have a reason for that, don't you?
Don't
A
have
good
to have a
reason.
Don't have any reason. We'll take that as carried. Item 16, we have one item on the sealing schedule that it will be for noting. Is there any late items of business? If not, we have no confidential reports. No other items on the agenda. The meeting is closed. Right.
I'm going to seal the